Good afternoon. The time is 5:36. It is August 18th. Mr. Chavez, will you lead us in a prayer, please?
I invite you to bow our heads. Our Heavenly Father, hallowed be thy name. This afternoon we come before your holy presence, grateful for the blessings that you have showered upon our port, grateful for the leadership that we have, and grateful for all the work that you continue to provide. We want to express our condolences to Vicky for the passing of her grandmother, Esperanza Velasquez, and we ask you to be with her and her whole family in this moment. We are grateful for the many memories that she left, but we ask you to be with her. We ask you also, Father, to be present here at this meeting so that you can guide our decisions and guide everything that happens here. May everything we do here bring honor and glory to your name. We ask it in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Will you all join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And the Texas flag also.
Pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you.
Public comments. There's no one has signed up at this time. So item number 3, receive director's report. A, receive port monthly operations summary report.
Here's the operating summary is in your agenda backup. And again, we can report to you that they're doing well. We're ahead of our budget on our revenues, and we're under our budget on expenses. So we are showing a $3,074,000 income from operations through the month of May. Our cargo statistics are running a little ahead of 2011, which is also very good. Our cargo vessels are down, but that's a factor of having larger vessels and not the largest this month. Everything else, our operating summaries are very strong, and we continue to do well.
Thank you, Ms. Duke. Commissioner, do you have any questions?
No questions, no. A couple of comments. Looks like, our business is cyclical. We started off with a bang, it seemed like, but if you look at the books on vessels, especially the bulk vessels, June, July, and August are shaping up to be pretty good. So hopefully we'll do even better as it relates to the excess of income. So the only other thing is just point out to you very briefly on the operating funds, you can see that the capital fund is getting to be very healthy. So that's something we're going to be looking at in some of the projects that we've got on the books for the short term. And then the last thing I'd like to say is that we're going to be closing the month of June, which is our 6th month, so expect to see us coming in with mid-year budget amendments to make adjustments reflect both on the expense and revenue side. So you should see that possibly maybe a second meeting in August. And then we're back into 2013 budget. So
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
we have our, monthly operations. We haven't done that for a while. So while they're setting up, I'd like to kind of make a couple of comments if we can. We did not have a meeting on the 4th of July, but you got your director's reports and we passed those out. And I just kind of want to touch on 2 things, at least it relates to my report. One is that I'd indicated that we were going to have our Tiger team visit this month. We were notified that that's going to be put off till next month. So that Tiger team visit is right now, it's tentatively scheduled for the 15th of August. And that visit will do multiple things. One is they want to come and not only review the project, talk about the project, but we're also going to have to demonstrate to them how we're going to pay for it, what some of the environmental considerations may have to be. We've already got it permitted, but there may be some NEPA concerns that we have to talk about, and the technical aspects of the project. I think because we had asked for $20 million and we only got $12 million, Our tack with them is going to be to talk about discussing modifying the grant to where we'd like to use the Tiger grants to concentrate on building the dock, and then the other elements of the project to actually modify it to remove them from the grant application. We won't know, but that's going to be the tack that we're going to take with them. Lastly, just last week, we had the Klein System folks here, the building system. They were also referenced in the Hales-Bradford report. They were here all week. They visited with everybody. They saw our business practices. We expect to get a somewhat on some of their observations in the next couple of weeks. And so, you know, one of the things that is a real critical aspect of moving forward, whether it's with Klein or anyone else, is going to be proceeding on the billing system. So once we get that back, we would hope in August to come to you and get a request to go out for statements of qualification so we can initiate that process and move on the new operating system, the new billing system. And then if you have any other questions, or if you had questions on the reports, you know, feel free to contact me or any of the directors.
Thank you, Mr. Compey. Do you have a slide?
Just one other thing, just to let everyone know, we're going to actually start Friday. We're going to go through some incident command training. Department, Edward Marks was nice enough to offer that training. He's an instructor from the University of, or Texas A&M in Galveston, that teaches the course everywhere, and he offered it to us for free. So several of the port folks will be out at that training starting Friday and all next week, and we've extended that invitation to our tenants, our FSOs, and the shipyards and things of that. So we've got a pretty good crowd. As of today, we had over 30 people attending. So
Good.
it'll be a...
And from a staff standpoint, it's from myself, you know, down to all the directors and who are all the key people in any of our emergency or incident command. So, you know, some of us, some more than others, will be out, you know, 2-3 days during this process attending that training.
And I think that's really important, because if there is an emergency, everybody can be in sync and know what needs to be done, and there's no confusion. So
That's kind of the plan.
I understand it, but I think it's really great that we're doing it.
Thank you, Ms. Seymour.
We have missed the construction reports for a couple of meetings, so.
For wildlife reports.
So we have new cinematography to report.
It's funny because when I do this at the NPO, the mayor always says, "Where's the popcorn?" He calls me the port cheerleader too. So.
There you go.
This is the July 18th, 2012 report of construction work here at the port. The first project that I always report to you on, of course, is the deepening and widening study that has us going to the 350-foot bottom width and 50-foot depth as of, you know, basically that's what the NED benefits call for. Right now, we have been working with the Corps and at district level, division level, and headquarters. They've already, of course, as you know, informed us that the project qualifies or definitely applies on this issue of the public law. And then the 99 million per year that you're already aware of, that's what we're trying to get for them to give us as benefits. The headquarters has completed the draft of the implementation guidance document. Right now, the document is at the ASA's office, which is the Assistant Secretary of the Army for Civil Works, and they're the ones that are evaluating it. It's actually been in their office for almost 2 months now, and we're working with our consultants in Washington to try to press them to give us the results, or a final determination as to what it is. We're hoping that because they're taking long, they're really looking at it closely. We don't know that for a fact, but we're expecting to hear from them anytime at this point. In the last, basically this is what I'm showing you right now is the results of the last project delivery team meeting, which actually I attended by phone because it was a mini meeting, if you will, because we didn't have all the team together, and I called in, and Glenn called in also from Washington, and our consultants in Houston also called in. And this is what the Corps has informed us. Galveston District did calculate the deepening benefits with the method that we discussed before, which was the spreadsheet method, but the BCX is still doing working on the harbor sand only for the deepening. It's already been done for the widening, and we think that this is going to help us. We basically agreed to go ahead and go to use the harbor sand model, and the reason is that we think that this is going to complete the process sooner than if they have to evaluate the spreadsheet model that they've already completed. The scheduled completion is still August 2014 after peer review. However, we are working with headquarters to shorten the schedule, and as of now, there's going to be a meeting in headquarters on August the 6th where the lady in charge of scheduling in headquarters in Washington is coming down to Galveston to review the schedule and to find out which areas can be shortened and which areas can be trimmed so we can complete the work sooner. She's actually going to be there for the whole week, but she's going to focus on our project on Monday, which is I think the August 6th, and Friday, which is August 13th. So I may have to travel both days. I'm trying to see if I can only be there one time. But that's going to be next month, and so we're hoping that at that time we'll find out exactly what the situation is with the process, and of course I'll report to you on next board meeting that we have to go over this. Internal projects that are being conducted by our own forces is this one, patio 13 resurfacing. Basically this is just a couple of shots. This is looking towards the east. Of the whole area. As you can see, everything was regraded. We put brand new limestone on the whole area. This is the look towards the other side, towards the west, and this is just the whole coverage of the patio, and that's already being used. So, we're already taking advantage of the new patio area.
We also extended what was there, so we picked
Yes.
up some additional storage area.
Yeah, basically, like right here, the patio area was covered only to here approximately, and this whole area was the extension that Mr. Campirano is talking about. And then on this area, we had a little bit of a gap between the road and the patio. Now it's all the way to the road. So the whole area between both roads is now a fully surfaced patio area. What was that, Mr.?
No, it's okay.
Question?
You answered it, sir. Thank you.
Also, our maintenance department took care of the demolition of the building over there at where Fago used to be. This is the original building, and this is our equipment clearing the site. This is the site cleared, and this is another shot of the site cleared. This is part of the work that is done in-house with the equipment that our own maintenance forces have. Another project that was, this was actually contracted to Hurricane Fence, is the new security fence on State Highway 48. This is right on the north end of the area north of Esco Marine. This is the area where we're working, and I'll show you some pictures in a minute. Our next set of pictures is of the new rail yard that BRG is building next to this area, and that was actually the reason that this fence was needed, because the fences on the south side had to be removed, so this one had to be upgraded so that we would have a full security fence here. That gap is already actually closed, because these pictures, as you can see, are from June 20th. By now, this is completed. This is another shot, and then this is from the other side, and that's it for that one. The repairs, the damage signs, there was a truck that went off the road here. You can see the skid marks, and it came in over to the south side. This is on Ostos Road on the south side. You can see the skid marks there, and you can see the track marks over here on the bank. And what they did is they knocked off a couple of signs. What you see here is the triangular slip base that is where the sign is connected, and these bases are designed to shear off when they're hit, so that the damage is minimized to the vehicle and to the sign. Here you can see the same base, and the sign is right over there. That's the sign that fell into the ditch. As you can see, the pole is pretty much in pretty good shape, because that's, like I said, that's the design of the bolts to shear off right there. This is not the same slip base. This is a different triangular slip base on another sign. This was a double arrow sign. Here's the sign on the ground. Here you can see another shot of that sign on the ground. And now here's the sign. This is the railroad sign repair, the first one. That's already in place, of course. The base was replaced, and then this is the other sign also, the double arrow sign. Sticking to the idea of signs on Terminal Road, we went ahead and put up our street signs for the road. I think it was on our last report, we showed you that the striping had already been done. Now the signs are up. You can see the street. This is from Old 48 looking south. There's a speed limit sign and the railroad warning sign over there. Those are a little bit of a close-up look with a stop sign at the end. This is actually looking back from the south towards the north with another speed limit sign, and this is a warning sign that there's a stop, and you can see the stop sign over at the end. This is the same sign, just a little bit closer. And then here you see a close-up of the speed limit sign. These signs were actually furnished, provided by the traffic department of the city. I actually submitted the plan to the city and asking for a price, and I didn't hear anything from them for 2 weeks, so I went down over there. And when I went there, I said, well, where's my price? And he says, well, they're your signs. And I said, how much? And he said, no charge. He gave me the signs for free. So
If they watch this meeting, that'll be the end of that.
I guess I want to publicly thank the city for those signs that we got. Roberto Esparza, he's...
Now you got a
We have a great relationship with the city.
Move on, please.
Anyways, so that's our stop sign on the north side. So this is a close-up of the triangular slip base. As you can see, those are the balls that are designed to shear off when it's hit, so that the part isn't damaged and the sign is not damaged. So that was Mr. Garza acquired those and used those in this installation as well. So
That's great.
we've got that taken care of. One thing that we're really excited about, especially me, right, Mr. Garza?
Yes.
It's our new bucket truck. We had this delivered a couple of weeks ago, and I think last week we finally got the documents and everything. So this is a new bucket truck that now this extends higher. There's a whole bunch of controls in there that include controls for turning on the motor that will drive it from up there. So it can be manipulated by a single person. And it extends up to 32 feet, which is higher than the other one. The main reason that we use this for is to fix the lights and the internal part of the ceilings in the sheds. So, and this is Mr. Garza, I don't know if you want to explain a little bit more in detail about that, of why we need this.
Well, we basically use it to replace the lights inside the shed. Sometimes you can't get to the lights directly underneath them. So because of the coils, the way they're placed or situated, so with that bucket truck, we can actually extend it to the side and then up. And that way, even though there may be coils on the floor, we can still work on our lights. And we also use it for shed repairs, especially the shed doors. Sometimes the tracks or the dollies, they get damaged by wind or they get hit by a machine. And so we use that bucket truck to get our people up there to do the repairs.
It's sure a lot better than scaffolding.
Yeah, we're also going to use it now that we've got so many cameras deployed throughout the port. It's the maintenance aspect of keeping those lenses. So we have a lot of more uses than just changing out the lights inside the shed. So
Well, it's a great piece of equipment, and it sure looks nice.
And as you can see, this is easier to get. The other bucket truck you had to climb on over the top, and this one you have access to the sides.
I
A little bit easier there.
I saw it yesterday afternoon out here in person. I was really impressed. It was very nice.
As I mentioned to you, the BRG is working on the north rail yard right now. Here are just some pictures. This is the base area that they're. This is where the spurs are going to be. The main rail is going to be in this location. That main rail was relocated due to the future expansion of the number 3 slip in Esco Marine, where they plan to bring in aircraft carriers, and this is providing the room for that, and then still providing the base for the additional rail. The base is being contracted out by GNT Paving is the contractor that got that job. BRG is going to be doing the ballast and the rails themselves, so they've already acquired a lot of the material. Norma was telling us yesterday at staff meeting that she has a lot of material either ordered or in place. So, they're going to be working on this continually until they finish the entire area of all the spurs plus.
And it should be finished by the end of the year.
So this is pretty substantial. That's Mr. Jarrows there. He's cooperating with the project, and there's still some things to do that we need to work on with him, but he's working as part of the project. Here you can see the area where it's expanding towards the west, actually. And here you can see another shot of the widened area where the spurs are going to be. Another project is this is some remediation work that needed to be done at Old Dock number 3. This is some that needed to be removed from the site. This is old railing that was in there that also needed to be removed. All that's been taken care of. Unused electrical boxes that needed to also be taken out. This is a close-up shot of those. And this is a stairwell that was damaged. Now this is replaced. I think the old one had wooden.
It was a
rungs,
wood.
right?
It was a wood
Yeah.
structure, stairway, and actually, we got that from Escobar.
Yeah, it's to furnish that metal stairwell with the metal steps. So that's a replaced stairwell there. And
That's what the
so
lady
that
said,
work has been
right?
done.
Yeah.
Another project is some dock repairs that were done at the fishing harbor. This is our own crews repairing. As you can see, they're replacing some of the planking. Here, they're working on the end of it, just the repairs, general shots of the repairs of the dock that had been damaged. One thing that we completed, in fact, this is also on your agenda today for finalization, is the quick access point and all that road lighting. These shots are actually of the nighttime inspection that we performed approximately a month ago. This is the entrance to dock number 10. As you can see, it's very brightly lit. This is on all docks 1 and 2. Those are the lights, of course, that were added up there. Here you can see the impact from the back because it's doing its job really well. Chief Garcia, after we finished, he's right there, he was part of the inspection. After we finished the inspection, he went back and he was reviewing the videos, and he said that he could just see everything light up at the moment that we turned on the light. So it is making a big difference. Of course, Mr. Davis and Mr. Garza right there, and Mr. Salvador Gomez and the engineers. That's part of the team that went and performed the inspection. This is on all dock number 3, as you can see.
Yeah.
I mean, it's super bright. It's very brightly lit. This actually, that day that we did the inspection, we had a problem with the light on dock 15 at the entrance. It wouldn't turn on. We had them come in and fix it. And this is a picture of the light after it was fixed. So right now, the whole project is done with one little thing, and it's an orientation of one of the lights needs to be oriented right. But it's in an area that, because of the rains, it's been too muddy, so it's in an area that we really don't, it's not essential at this time. And what I am going to do is handle that through the warranty year, because it's not a damage, it's not a quality issue, it's just an alignment issue, and they can take care of that very quickly. On the internal roads project, of course, all the roads have been completed. We have some issues over here with Mineral Road that I'm going to talk about right now. Work is virtually complete. Texas has completed review. Of course, you all have approved the 2 change orders that we have pending. Right now, we are working on a new change order, and I got an email yesterday from Mr. Espinosa from the state that Ballinger staff had completed the cost estimate for the change order, this change order that would address these roads, and that it was just subject to the review of the owner. As of today, we still don't have the number, so I was hoping I could report to you the number today, but we don't have it yet. I'm hoping to get it tomorrow. And depending on what the number is, we will see whether we work with them or find or select a different path. So that's the only issue that is really pending at this time. So contract closeout is expected right after that is taken care of. Text at 550, this one I'm reporting to you. I no longer report the 550 to MPO because the state does it on their report. But basically, I just wanted to show you where we're at. This, you can see the asphalt and the barriers already in place. Anybody who drives through there, of course, has already seen that. This is the Old Port Isabel Road overpass. That's basically already complete. This is a shot of the bridge. So that's, all the planking and all the barriers are both in place, so that's pretty much ready to go. Apparently they haven't opened it yet. I don't know if anyone's driven on it, but it's ready to go. This the barrier in the main lanes. When I took this shot, the barrier was done up to there, of course, with the reinforcement over here for the future pour for that. This is the overpass at 3248 that has basically been completed. This is a shot of the 3248 overpass with the plankings in place and the barriers. This is the BRG, well, this is the spur overpass that crosses 550. That's just a general shot of it. This is a shot of the off-ramp. If you're coming east on 48, this is where you would go into the port. You would get off 48 and then go into the port in this direction. And then this is the port entrance. This is how you would go into the port, of course. Right now we have our chain link fence that was also installed by our own forces. So that's in place. And then this, well, basically that is the last shot I have. I had some other shots, but I didn't include them. There's a couple of cranes that are there and up in the air, and up in the front area near 550. So.
Thank you.
I don't know if there's any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chavez.
Good job.
Thank you.
Very good job.
Yeah. He's gonna be looking for a job
Well, I will say that I don't feel guilty that the city gave us the signs, because I remember us helping them buy a fire truck, so I think, but we do, I'm
And
very
we're
happy
trying to
we've
get the
got.
land for the sign over there in the entrance too.
That's
Huh?
true. That's right. We gave him the land.
Item number 4, consideration and action on the following consent agenda items. A, approval of the minutes of the regular board meeting of June 20th, 2012. B, approval to authorize payments over $25,000. 1, South Texas Communications, payment for Motorola radios purchased for the Port Security Police Department in the amount of $181,253.85. Item C, approval of the following leases. 1, Valero Brownsville Terminal LLC new lease. 2, RTW Properties LP release. 3, Deep South Tex Terminal LP amendment. 4, Luna Trading Inc. release. 5, Oscar A. Gonzalez doing business as G&Z Truck Service release.
On the Motorola, we've already taken possession of all the radios. We need to pay it, and then we can apply for our reimbursement once we do that.
Mr. B, the only question I have for number 5, remember that's the property that's on 511?
On 511.
Just to beautify that, so they can have their property upkeep, because it's the front of our port, and so,
Right, they, yes, understand that, they need to do a green area.
yeah,
It's a transportation yard, but
Yes.
it's going to have a green area.
And a fence also.
okay, that's my.
And a new fence too,
And a
right?
fence, yes, sir.
If it was inside, that was fine, but it's right at the entrance of our, thank you. I get a motion.
Make a motion?
Moved by Commissioner Masso, second by Commissioner Reed. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Item number 5, consideration and action on a resolution approving a bond resolution to be adopted by the Board of Directors of the Southmost Regional Water Authority, authorizing the issuance of obligations designated as Southmost Regional Water Authority Supply Contract Revenue Refunding Bond Series 2012, authorizing the chairman or the secretary of the Board of Navigation and Canal Commissioners of the Brownsville Navigation District of Cameron County, Texas, to execute on behalf of the Brownsville Navigation District of Cameron County, Texas, all documents in connection with this transaction and other matters in connection therewith.
Southwest Regional uses Estrada, as their financial consultants or financial advisors, and they have a refunding opportunity to save some money, and as part owners of the entity, we will be asked to sign off on the resolutions and paperwork necessary for the sale.
The only question I had on the bonds, I know this is a refinancing of them, but if this entity were ever to default for whatever reason, are we responsible for our 2 or 3%?
What percentage would that be, Mr. 2%?
Okay,
And
thank you.
these bonds will cut the interest we are going to pay in half, so
Right.
since I'm your representative on that board,
That's fine, I just was curious about our liability, and that's, okay, thank you.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Commissioner Romero, second by Commissioner Masso. All those in favor?
Aye.
Item number 6, consider an action to amend the district's procurement policy and procedures.
The district has adopted subchapter N of Chapter 60 of the Texas Water Code as our guidance in purchasing policies and procedures. And in the last legislative session, subchapter N was amended by the legislature, and we have prepared amendments to our policy and procedures to comply with those changes in the subchapter. Some of the amendments dealt with changes to the definition and procedures on emergency purchases, particular assigning authority to the port director to go ahead and make emergency purchases, and then some definitions of emergency purchases have been expanded, particularly to include those things that we might be mandated to purchase in the event of a heightened security situation, and there's a new notification requirement in the event that we make an emergency purchase. They also expanded the definition of exempt purchases, particularly to include what they call captive replacement parts, which would be like a dealer option. And then if we are using a sole source option of purchasing, we're going to be required to sign a statement that that's what we're doing. And the third area that subchapter N was submitted was to require that we comply with chapter 2254 of the Texas Government Code, which has to do with the procurement of professional services and consulting services. And so those amendments have been made to the policy. What I handed you right now is a further amendment. We had sent you a version in your packet, and Danielle's made a further suggestion.
So the one on page 49 is superseded by this
That is
amended one?
correct.
Okay.
This gives our CEO authority in case of emergency.
Subchapter N requires that the board give written authorization to anyone who's given authorization to make these emergency purchases. This policy specifically says the board director needs that.
No, that's fine, I
Yes,
just,
this came up in our discussion on the services with Belfour. If you recall, on emergency services, there will be time when, hey, if something does occur that emergency, then I'd have the authority to go ahead and bind those purchases and then notify you within a certain time period. There was already some provisions in there that allowed that, but this kind of makes it clear and clears it up. Now, there is one other thing with that I think we need to point out, is if you notice, it says the port director and CEO authorized, and it also says, in my absence, that deputy port director that shall be authorized. And we thought that would just simply be a good practice.
That's a very good practice.
Perfect.
There are some additional amendments that the staff is preparing for this policy, but we will take those through the normal channels, go to the policy committee and bring this forward. In particular, we're looking at a policy that allows us to give a preference to local vendors. I think that's something you're
Good.
interested in, and I've done some research into
Absolutely.
how other entities are handling that. That will go through our policy committee and back to the board.
Thank you, Mr.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Masso.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Conway. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Duke.
Item number 7, consideration and action on finance, negotiations, easements, subleases, and contracts in general. Item 1, RTW Properties LP, Elite Fuels Inc., authority to negotiate.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, RTW Properties LP under contract 3218 and Elite Fuels Inc. under contract 3840 are requesting to interconnect two of their tanks with RTW and Elite's into Elite site in the form of a license agreement. And we're asking the board for authority to prepare this license agreement.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
Why would we prepare the license agreement? I could see why they would want us to approve of it, but if it's an agreement between RTW and Elite, why wouldn't they prepare it?
Or we can request them to prepare it.
It's really an easement, Daniel, but we started doing license agreements. It's an easement because they're going to connect two of their pipelines. I mean, they're going to run a pipeline from their terminal to a tank.
Right, I understand. To me, it's like a sublease, and we don't do subleases for other people, but anyway, we
It's
can
been a
talk about
practice that we've done before on that,
We've never
Don?
really done this.
Okay.
But it's just, it's an easement. I mean,
But it's not anything we're really objecting to either, right?
We did want to interconnect all of Transmontane's terminals.
This is a license agreement on the lease side or on our property?
on the lease.
This is on between two leases.
Well, that if, Daniel thinks we should do it, I'm okay. If he doesn't, then.
Absolutely.
Well, even, let's just, to be blunt about it, even if we do it, they ought to pay the cost of doing it,
Yes.
because it's their deal, not ours.
Yeah.
So, what do you recommend, Counselor?
I'd go ahead and authorize it, and then we'll, because it has to come back anyway.
Okay.
Okay.
You're just, the approval is going to be later.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Commissioner Reed,
Second.
second by Commissioner Cowan. All those in favor?
Aye.
Item number 2, Marcelino Ochoa, authority to negotiate.
It's Mr. Marcelino Ochoa, Alessia Division Harbor is requesting to lease the ex-Fraga site for boat tie-up and repairs, and the staff is asking, requesting for authority to negotiate with Mr. Ochoa for the site.
You're recommending that?
Yes, sir.
Motion by Commissioner Cowan,
Second.
second by Commissioner Massa. All those in favor?
Aye.
Item number 3, Texas Marine Ventures Inc., authority to negotiate.
These two Texas Marine Ventures under BND contract 3616 has expired and they're requesting a new lease. This is for the purpose of a restaurant. This is right across the street from the fishing harbor.
Is that where Los Vaqueros used to
Los
be?
Vaqueros, yes, sir. And the staff is asking, requesting authority to negotiate a new lease.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner
Second.
Cowan, second by Commissioner Massa. Aramula. All those in favor?
Aye.
Item number 4, Auto Líneas RTG SADCB, authority to negotiate.
Autolíneas RTG SADCB is, their present lease is due to expire August 15th, and they're requesting a new lease. This is a transportation yard, it's at the Patio West, and we've informed all the lessees there that we would extend 1 additional year there, and in the interim, they can be looking for another site to move to.
Okay.
So staff is asking for authority to negotiate a 1-year extension.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Reed, second by Commissioner Cowan. Favor?
Aye.
Item number 5, Jose Luis Garcia, Brownsville Wiper and Fibers Inc., sublease.
Mr. Luis Garcia is requesting board consent to sublease to Brownsville Wiper and Fibers Inc., 18,000 square feet of their warehouse for the handling of plastics and used clothing. With these sublease to be effective July 16.
Why are we involved in him leasing space in his warehouse?
Well, because he's subleasing and his lease requires him to notify and the board to approve of of him subleasing. So that's why we're bringing it to the board to consent to the sublease.
I just wanted to clarify why we were doing it, that's all. Okay.
Yeah, they've been making the effort over there, trying to get these people to notify us, and so I'm glad
That's good.
he's doing it.
Now, I'm sorry, Mr. Renfro, the liability, they'll take care of that, or how does that work? Does it work under Jose Luis, or? You good?
You mean the liability?
No,
We don't release our tenant. He's still liable.
Okay.
But in addition to that, the sublessee agrees to honor our lease. He can't do anything that our lease prohibits, but it's not like an assignment where the new person steps in.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's the reason, we want to be notified, so all of those provisions can be declared, and they need to understand what they're agreeing to do.
Okay.
Because in the past, as Commissioner Reed said, we didn't know what was going on.
And the consent document, for instance, says that if Mr. Garcia didn't pay the rent, you terminate the lease, and the subtenant's stuck with that.
So you have to move that.
He'd have to move.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Commissioner Reed,
I'll second the motion.
second by Commissioner Cowan. All those in favor?
Aye.
Item number 6, G&O Shrimp Company, Inc., subordination.
G&O Shrimp is requesting the board's consent to subordinate in favor of Frost Bank for a loan for working capital to be used in connection with their lease under contract 3642. We're still working on the paperwork. Mr. Renfro, since they're still working on the paperwork, it involves 3 of their shrimp boats. We are asking the board to approve of the consent subject to Mr. Renfro reviewing the documents and approving them.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Cowan, second by Commissioner Reed. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Item number 7, Badoli Group, Inc., consent.
The Badoli Group, under contract 3132, is requesting the board's consent to subordinate in favor of J.P. Morgan Chase Bank to enter into a credit agreement. They are also working on their paperwork. They would, this is to be at a future date, and so we're requesting that to give consent to 60 days. If within 60 days they do not close, then all this is null and void, and they'd have to come back to the board and request again to subordinate. And so
And also subject to council's review and acceptance.
that's correct.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Cowan.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Master. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Item number 8, consideration and action on lease agreement with Valero Brownsville Terminals LLC.
This is a subsidiary agreement to the lease that Valero's taking over. In the past, it had been the practice just to give people oral permission to put pipelines to get to the docks, and that has come back to haunt us. So in the last 2 or 3 deals like this, we've actually given them licenses in a particular place that says, here's where you'll put your pipeline. This is to get the pipeline from the lease site to the liquid cargo dock, which obviously is in our best interest, so they can bring barges in, and of course. So that's what this document would do. It's identical to a similar document we did with Transmontane 2 or 3 years ago.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by
Second.
Commissioner Rambula, second by Commissioner Cowan. All those in favor?
Aye.
Item number 9, consideration and action to award the bid for electrical services to wire the main office building to connect to a generator in case of an emergency. As you know, we went out for bids for the wiring services for the main building, and we received 2 bids, one from Metro Electric and the other from Global Electric. There was a fairly large discrepancy between the 2 bids, so I went back to each company and asked them to send us the exact specifications that they bid on without cost, but just exactly what they were bidding on. And so I forwarded that to our engineer, which was Trinity Engineering Service, and also John Sawicki, our project manager for the grant project, forwarded them to both of them. And we've been going back and forth asking the companies different information and asking them to clarify the bids. But I received notice today from Trinity that both bids were both good bids, eligible bids. They were bidding on the correct specs. And so We have two bids. Metro Electric, their total bid was $76,340 with a 1-year warranty on the material and labor and a 90-day installation time. And Global Electric, their bid was $48,250, same warranty, 1 year, and a 12-week delivery, so a little shorter time. So based on that, based on Trinity's reviewing of the project, based on the past history of work that we experienced with Global, they just finished a project for us that is on the agenda tonight to be closed out. The staff recommends that we accept the low bidder and proceed with the project.
Now, the only question I have, are the warranty details for Global the same as Metro?
Yes, sir.
They were just left, that was left out? Okay.
So it's just the price difference at this point then?
Yeah, they're both qualified bids,
They're
so
both
your low bid is
qualified bids.
$48,250.
And this would ensure that, assuming that we get our generator, the whole facility here would be up and running?
Yes, sir.
Assuming
This is
it's
where they'll
still
just-
standing.
Assuming it's still
You're
standing?
gonna have it ready to just be plugged in and,
Good point.
Assuming it's still standing.
At the last board meeting that we talked about the generator, that's why we just went ahead with the wiring
The plug-in
project.
so that we
It
rent
wasn't
it.
really
Yeah.
the board at that time felt we
Yeah,
didn't need
so,
a generator.
yeah.
So we went ahead and with this, it'll be wired. With our contract for Belfour, if the need arose that we did need a generator, then all they'd have to do is drop one in and plug it up and it'd be ready to go.
I know you feel good about that,
Motion
sir?
by Commissioner Reed,
I think we got a good bid, it's qualified and reviewed by the engineer of record, and recommend approval.
I'll second the motion.
second by Commissioner Cowan. Thank you, Mr. Cowan. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Item number 10,
Very good.
consideration and action to accept the work by RZVE doing business as Global Electric on the Twick Access Point and Oil Dock Road Lighting Augmentation Project, release retainage and begin warranty year.
Chairman, for Commissioners, as reported earlier in the construction report, their work has been completed. The only item that we have there, as I said, is an issue having to reorient the light, and that we can handle through the maintenance year. So our recommendation is that you all accept the project.
You can use your bucket truck to move.
The lights that will be put on this, Mr. Chavez, are they just standard lighting?
No. These are special lights that are already in place. That's what you saw on the screen of the bright lighting of the docks and all that. That's already in place, but they're special 400-watt halogen lights that are up in
In the specified areas.
I forgot what exactly the height is. I think it's about 80 feet, but they're all located in a specified area. We designed it, well, the engineer designed it that there would be substantial light on the dock, but then every other light, we put one light to the back so that it would light the rail on the oil docks.
So
So
that,
we've got lighting both ways.
so that we've got security and safety
Yes.
both taken care of, covered.
The
And then on the
security
next-
are on photo cell, so they come on automatically, and then the working lights need to be turned on and off. That's-
And everything has been done. It's all complete. Any other issues that, if anything arises, of course, they're going to be within the warranty year, so we'll be looking at that.
Great, and they don't have a problem, they've already committed to doing the alignment when it dries up enough where they can
Exactly.
bring the equipment in and do it.
Exactly.
Okay?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I got a
So
motion.
the-
Motion by Commissioner
I'll
Reed,
second it.
second by Commissioner Cowan. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Item number 11, consideration and action on a resolution, approving a resolution adopted by the Board of Directors of the Southmost Region Water Authority authorizing the creation of a new operation and maintenance reserve fund and the assessment and collection of a new annual payment from each of the participating customers under the water supply contracts, authorizing the execution of amendments to the water supply contracts and making certain findings and containing other provisions related to the subject.
Okay, that's a long
How much is it going to cost? $6,000.
I think that they're going to eventually take this down a little bit farther than the $6,000 per year that they projected at first. They had originally thought this would just be for the membrane replacements. As they got into working on this, it's done a lot of changing as they've gone through, but this is going to be an emergency maintenance reserve. that they'll be setting up, since this is a new fund. The way that our agreement on our contract is that they can only assess against us current operations, so since we are also now going to be contributing to a new fund, you all have the option of approving that amendment for that. The reason that this, I think, is a very good idea is if they were to have an emergency, a major emergency repair that they needed to be doing, they could come back to us at any time and say, here, you have to pay your 2% this year. And what they're doing is they're establishing a reserve that they can hit for those emergency repairs. And they are looking at the fact that the membranes, which are those big filter things, are reaching the end of their life cycle. And they're very expensive to replace. And they're looking forward not having to hit members with a huge assessment in 1 year that they'll be able to take it under this maintenance fund. So this amendment has been prepared to allow them to establish this reserve fund. And they will assess it actually in our October assessment. It will just be a part of that.
I think this is a very good way to approach it. This way, it's being proactive and they're ready to go when the time comes. The money, our portion's already there, and if they don't need to, they're not going to be hitting us for it until they need it. So I'd like to make a motion that we.
Motion by Commissioner Cowan.
I'll second that.
Second by Commissioner Monson. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Item number 12, adjourn to executive session.
We do have an item, a couple items for discussion. And one of the